Hello, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Daniel Rosales. I'm the Special Programs Director for the District Attorney's Office, and on behalf of the District Attorney's Office, I would like to welcome you to our first Town Hall meeting of 2015, and Happy New Year. For those of you who are new to our forums, we want to first and foremost thank you for your presence. For your mere presence shows that you share in the common goal of making Doña Ana County a better place to live, work, and raise a family. Before we begin tonight's forum, we want to first kindly remind everybody that at any moment we are not allowed and we are prohibited actually from speaking with regards to specific cases. So we ask that you please respect that. But at the same time, know that the district attorney's doors are always open. So at any time that you feel the need to come in and speak with the district attorney, with somebody in our office, know that our doors are always open and you're always welcome to come in and speak with us, whether you have questions, concerns, ideas. Know that you are always welcome here.
That's fine, but that's your number now.
Just to let you know, tonight's meeting will be on our website. The video that you're going to see here shortly will be on our website. And we want to welcome you to our website, www.doñaanacountyda.com. There you can find our wonderful website, and there you can find our Facebook access as well. So again, it's www.doñaanacountyda.com. Before I hand the podium over to our district attorney, we'd like to share with you a short video message from retired judge of the New Mexico Court of Appeals, Judge Rudy Apodaca.
In 1955, there were about 560,000 people in state psychiatric hospitals throughout the United States. Today, there are fewer than 50,000. Adjusting for growth in population, had the commitments to state hospitals held in 1955, there would now be more than 900,000 persons in state hospitals. Then something happened to change that. In 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court decided the case of Jackson versus Indiana. That case effectively shut down mental hospitals and insane asylums across the country. As a result, there are today some 450,000 homeless people in the United States. About a third of these are mentally ill. In addition, roughly 16% of prisoners held in jail are mentally ill. So the situation of the homeless and the incarcerated as it exists today was the unintended consequence of the ruling in Jackson. This dilemma facing the country has given rise to strong opinions that we are mistreating our mentally ill. A friend in New York City once told me that he came across the mentally ill every day. He stepped over them in the streets, looked the other way as they rummaged through trash bins in some alley, and paid no attention to their ravings. A critic once complained that although on street corners all over the United States, very sick people are left to rot, the federal government ignored the problem by not addressing it in a written report issued by the President's Commission on Mental Health. He contended that most of the mentally ill roaming the streets are too sick to know they are sick, and claimed that roughly 50% of schizophrenics and those with bipolar disorder don't know that they are mentally ill. If treatment is left as an entirely voluntarily choice, he stated, it is as it has been in the past, these people will choose continued illness and misery. His solution was to fund and build facilities where such individuals can be treated involuntarily. Whether the mentally ill roaming the streets should be treated involuntarily is today a heavily debated issue. The ACLU, for example, maintains that there exists a right to be untreated, an untreated schizophrenic. No matter where one stands on the question, one glaring fact exists in communities all over the country. Until reforms in the law take place in your jurisdiction, it will be necessary for you, as peace officers, to cope with this difficult issue.
Now, this is just a very small piece of a very powerful video. Please know that the remainder of that video can be found on our website, as well as a bill that is going to be discussed here shortly. Again, that website is www.doñaanacountyda.com. At this time, I would like to introduce you to our District Attorney, Mark D'Antoni.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for being here. I want to start by taking a little step to the side. If you read today's paper, you'll know that our newly elected sheriff, who sits to my right, Sheriff Vigil, has made an issue that he is in sore need of sheriffs, deputies. As the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of Doñana County, I want to start off by saying, before we even tackle the problem of mental illness in our county, in our state, in our country, we need the men and women on the front line who are going to protect us. So I urge you in joining me in fully supporting Sheriff Vigil's request, whatever he needs, to put more men and women on the street. It's vital to our community. It's vital to our safety. I also want to say, before I start officially, is that I'm very delighted and my heart's filled with pride that our elected officials are here late at night with us, the people who make our rules and regulations, our judges who make hard decisions regarding the mentally ill are here today. I want to recognize Judge Macias, who deals extensively with that issue. Thanks for being here, Judge. Judge Rosner is here. Thank you for being here, Judge, very much. Commissioner Wayne Hancock is here, always a great supporter of my office and a person who really cares about his community. Our newly elected representative, Bill Gomez, is here, showing that he cares. Thanks for being here, Representative Gomez. And obviously distinguished members of our panel, which will be introduced in a minute. Folks, when you're in charge, when you hold a title as Chief Law Enforcement Officer of a county, that's a heavy burden. And sometimes I go to bed at night thinking about that. Now, I have two basic duties: to protect the county as a whole, to make sure that your mom and dad and sons and daughters are protected within the law the best that I can possibly do in conjunction with my friends in law enforcement who are first responders. But I also have responsibility to the individual, to that person who may be mentally ill, who doesn't realize they're mentally ill, who's suffering greatly. I'm responsible for that person too. And to watch those individuals suffer or be put in a jail cell while they get minimum treatment is not what I want. I want to give them the help they need to survive and to do well and to ease their pain. Now, to my left sits Senator Mary Kay Papen, and we're going to talk about important legislation that she's introducing in this current legislation session. Now, is it the perfect fix? Is it the be-all and end-all perfect solution? No, but it's a positive step in the right direction. Folks, you know it, I know it, we need help. The mentally ill need help. It's a personal issue, it's a safety issue, and it's a humanitarian issue. I pledge when my own employee, who I cared for, and I had no idea he was mentally ill, wound up dying in Florida after attacking several people. Now, I could claim the responsibility. I didn't know about it. He wasn't even my employee when it happened. But yet, I lost sleep at night thinking about it. And I have Dr. Dixon here to my right as well, who's going to talk about that. I formed a panel today to discuss the issue of the new proposed legislation and other issues regarding how law enforcement is going to address issues of mental health and potential defendants and people. Ron Gurley is to my left. He is an expert in these matters. He has been serving Las Cruces and Doñana County for a number of years. I've asked him to help me help you and us. The fact that you're here means you care, and the fact that you're here means you're willing to help. And folks, I'm going to tell you, I need your help. With that, let me introduce my friend Ron Gurley. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, Senator, my mistakes. Senator Papin, please. Now, Senator Mary Kay Papin has served in New Mexico legislator for 14 years. She is currently the pro tem since 2013. She sits on many committees, important committees, and does wonderful work. She's a member of the Behavioral Health Subcommittee, the Advisor Legislative Health and Human Services Committee, the Designee Legislation Finance Committee, among others. I've worked with Ms. Senator Papin now for a number of years since I was elected as a DA. She really cares. She's one of the good ones, folks. Forget what you hear about politicians. Senator Papin cares, is interested, and does great work. I'm proud to have her here. Senator Papin.
I guess I'm going to start to read this. Do you want me to introduce this legislation?
Yes, please, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, District Attorney D'Antonio, and thank you for coming. It's really wonderful to see how many people have shown up for this. This is an important issue. I think we all know that, and probably if we look deep enough into our families or wide enough into our families, there probably isn't anyone in this room who, in one way or another, however far their distance the relationship is, that you don't have somebody in your family that has a mental health issues. It may be severe, it may be minor, but I think it's not something that we escape as family members. So, and let me start to, and most of you who know me know that my grandson is schizophrenic and bipolar. And he is in California, specifically because the services there, you can get better services there. You can get the kinds of services that we're trying to get in New Mexico for people with mental illness, so that they won't be a danger to themselves and they won't be a danger to the public. So with that, let me make an introduction on this bill that I'm carrying, and then, excuse me, and then I will turn it over to Sean Mathis from our staff, council staff. She is the one who has written the bill. We've worked on it together, but she's the brains, and I'm the front man. Thank you so much. And so I will be carrying the legislation at the next session, and I've already pre-filed this, and Paul Pacheco from Albuquerque, Republican, has already signed on it. I've had several other people who've called and want to co-sponsor the bill with me. So this is going to be also a bipartisan bill, which excites me a lot, because we're, you know, if we look at it, I represent non-voters, I represent independents, I represent Democrats, I represent Republicans, I represent whatever, anybody in that 46,000 mix that I have out there to represent. Anyway, it creates a civil proceeding to petition for court-ordered outpatient treatment and support services for an individual who, because of serious mental illness, cycles in and out of our hospitals and our jails. Estimates suggest that persons who would be eligible for this court supervision comprise a very small percentage of people, 0.003%, of the larger population of persons who suffer from mental illness. So not everyone who suffers from mental illness would be part of this bill, or this bill wouldn't apply to them. In our state, this would be the equivalent of fewer than 300 persons statewide. Excuse me. The number of people under court order at any given time should be significantly less based on the experience of other states. Judge Oscar Kazin from San Antonio, whose program serves an area with a population of 1.8 million, typically has 80 persons in his program at any given time. As you know, left to their own devices, people in this small group destabilize, inevitably leading to victimization, hospitalization, and incarceration. The way New Mexico has handled these people in the past is to require them to become very ill or violent or to themselves or to others before extending a helping hand, or more often, the long arm of the law. Waiting to take action until people act out has made our jails, both elsewhere and in the nation and in New Mexico, our largest mental health facilities. Assisted outpatient treatment is a humane and constitutional alternative to jail and to the mental hospitals. The bill does not apply to persons with developmental disabilities, nor does it apply to persons with traumatic brain injury. It will not lead to a roundup of mentally ill persons who will be forced into treatment. It does not allow the forcible medication of anyone. It does not allow sanctions against a mentally ill person for refusing to participate in the treatment. But based upon results achieved elsewhere, it should lessen homelessness and lower rates of suicide while reducing hospitalizations, arrests, and incarcerations. Court-supervised outpatient treatment will not by itself solve all of the problems of the state's behavioral health system. This bill does not mandate a specific uniform array of services statewide, nor does it include funding for additional services. However, it creates the opportunity to free up funds that have historically been spent on expensive acute rescue and repurpose those funds to match less expensive outpatient treatment, case management, and support services that keep the person well. In addition, most of those in this small group who would who would qualify for court-supervised outpatient treatment are eligible for coverage under the Medicaid expansion. The bill provides appropriations for data gathering and analysis of cost effectiveness and outcomes to inform our decision-making on the value of assisted outpatient treatment. I've asked the staff, Sean Mathis, who is here with me today, to come up here and take the bill and go through it piece by piece for you so that you can understand exactly what this bill does